Hello class, Mr. Best here. As we've been discussing in class, we've been talking about the origination of hand tools and the most common tools. So we've seen a variety of different things, but specifically as we talk about hammers, this is going to be what we're discussing today. So I've got a couple of what we call claw hammers.
Hammer.
So again, the claw is that portion. And again, many of you may have used a hammer before, but that claw is going to be that portion that helps pull the nail out. So I've got two different hammers here. If you worked on a carpentry or construction site using a hammer, a lot of times the hammers are weighted. So if you can see here, this is a 16-ounce claw hammer. So 16 ounce, as you know, if you can know your conversions, is 1 pound, where I've got a Craftsman hammer here also, and it's a 20 ounce. So again, the main thing in using a hammer is find one that's comfortable and that's a good weight. Again, if you're using framing nails, you want a good weight so the power of the hammer can drive that nail in. But our task today is going to be getting some practice hammering nails. And before we ever get started in hammering nails, the main thing is our PPE. So we want to make sure we have our safety glasses on at all times in the shop. The other thing is gloves. Now I got a quick question. Will we want to wear gloves all the time or in both hands with a hammer? So notice I'm putting them both on, but if I've got to hammer nails all day and I've got to pick up nails, we need to keep one hand free where we can have that dexterity to pick up the nail. So again, we want to just do away with one. I'm going to hammer right-handed. Actually, I can hammer with either hand, but as we hammer, it's probably not a bad idea to have a glove. I would recommend at least having a glove on the hammer side. Now before we get started, as we look at the hammer, the tendency for a lot of people starting out is, you know, you feel like I've got more control if I start hammering with my hand here on the red part. So yes, I can hammer, but again, we want to come back on the back of this hammer and let the leverage help power that into the wood. So again, if you ever grab the hammer here, stop and move your hand on down. Most hammers will have an area here that helps it feel comfortable in your hand to hold it in place. So I've got this nail started, and one thing I do want to mention is the nails that we're using will almost go through the wood. So in the shop, we've got nice work tables. We want to make sure we're not nailing into the table itself. So I've actually got another block here just in case, to keep us from, in my case, damaging the plastic table. I want to mention, look at this nail here. So if we look at that nail versus this one, so I've just got a handful of kind of some old nails, repurposed nails. But some people may say, oh, that nail's bent so we can't use it. But I don't ever want us to do that in the shop. We need to repurpose, reuse our things that we have, because again, nails like that, we can easily do more practice with those. But we want to hold it down to the bottom. Got my hand on the back. I'm going to, so once we get it there, so we're going to pull this out. And one thing we notice, a lot of times with our longer nails, sometimes you need a block in here to give you some extra leverage to pull that nail out. Because if I continue to try to pull this nail out, I could probably do it, but I'm going to have to create a curve in that, and it's going to end up bending the nail. It'll come out similar to that one. So what I want to do is put a block here, and I'll pull up, and notice it's allowing me to pull that nail straighter out. Now Mr. Best will go bye-bye.